Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. This video, if I'm being honest, is just one of those videos with some random mods that I really enjoy. Some that are just hidden in my 2,500 mod list, or new mods. So if you were looking for a new reason to start a new save because you wanted new mods, then this is the video for you. So without further ado, if you found the mod you like, make sure to hit that like button down below. And don't forget to endorse mod authors. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Up first, and probably the newest of this list, maybe, but this mod is called Diverse Grindstones. Somehow I missed this mod a few weeks ago, maybe it was when I was doing Fallout 4. But this mod uses base object swapper and the Nexus mod title to replace every single grindstone inside of Skyrim cities. But not just the grindstones inside of cities, it replaces pretty much all of them. And because it uses base object swapper, it's pretty easy to use. Just make sure you have the most updated version. This mod has a few different models for the grindstone, not the seed itself, though they will sometimes have different textures, but the grindstone itself is sometimes thick or thin. Up next, a mod for the stores inside of Skyrim, one mod that's kind of underrated. This mod is called Store Entrance Doorbells. Maybe it's underrated for a reason because most people wouldn't find a reason for this, but once you get up to the amount of mods I have, you just find any reason to add a mod. And what other reason would there be for immersion? This mod, when you walk inside of doors, will ring the doorbell above the door. This can be used as just an immersion doorbell ring once you walk in the door, or it can be used to stop thieves, though I mainly use it for the immersive side. But this next mod is another mod that kind of underrated in my opinion. This mod is called JS Badges of Office SE. With this mod installed, it will give stewards of the Jarls a certain badge that fits the hold that they're currently in. And no, unfortunately, even if you add these to your inventory, you can't wear them because they're set up to just spawn on the NPC. And no matter what clothing they wear, it will appear on top of it, kind of floating ahead of them, but it definitely prevents a lot of clipping and a lot of clothing changing issues. So these are strictly for NPCs, but it does work pretty well and it's pretty immersive in my opinion. Honestly, I probably should have named this Immersive mods, but the next mod up is called Simpler Knock. If you get to a door, say you took a quest from an NPC and it's nighttime now, instead of having to skip time to turn in the quest, you can now simply knock on the NPC's door. And based on your persuasion or intimidation skill, you can get them to open the door or they will say no. For the most part though, if you have a quest from them, the persuasion check is pretty easy, but intimidation is where you're going to fall short. Every NPC inside of the home will have their own option to talk to them, so it will be easier. And based on the timer, you get 30 seconds if you intimidate or persuade them to let you inside, and once those 30 seconds pass, you're teleported right back outside. But I do want to be careful about this mod and warn you, if you fail a check, if you knock on the NPC's door and you fail the check, you will get a debuff, which will appear in your magic menu letting you know that you are a nuisance and you can no longer knock on NPC's doors for one in-game hour, which you can wait for to bypass it if you prefer to do that. Or you can go the original vanilla method and just pick lock your way inside for whatever reason if you need to go. But up next, we have a new armor mod. This mod is called Sellsword Armor by FB. This mod, to obtain it, all you have to do is craft it at the Skyforge. There's no special requirements. And I quote by the mod author, it is Skyforge crafting because it is convenient for them. This armor also does feature support for 3BA and B-Hump, but to equip the armor, you do have to build your body first before you join in game, and also make sure you download the right body for your character. With this armor comes along with daggers for each different color of the outfit, and there are quite a few different outfit colors. What's unique about this armor though, is that the boot parts of it come with the armor, so they aren't a completely separate piece. I'm not entirely sure what will happen if you try to equip boots over this, considering you technically don't have any equipped. I possibly could have tested that before I joined in game, but hey, I wanted to see my character floating head and almost naked. It kind of works out that way. You also get black leather and brown leather. Don't think I mentioned that. This armor does not require faster HDT also. Up next, a mod I reviewed before, but I feel like people keep asking me about it, so here we go again. This mod is called Wait Carriage Inns. Typically, unless you have a carriage overhaul that adds carriage to every new city or just vanilla city, then you have to run to every single city and wait for a carriage. But this one, it lets you talk to any innkeeper that doesn't typically have a carriage, or maybe you just don't feel like running outside. And once you click the option for the innkeeper to spawn the carriage driver, you just sit down and they should just walk through the door in the next few seconds. And then you just talk to them and then you can pretty much go to any city that you would like. This is a great alternative if you don't want to use something like convenient carriages, which I do recommend, but sometimes it can be a little too much with all the patches and all the landscape changes. With this mod, all you have to do is just talk to an innkeeper and then you can go anywhere you want. I do want to point out though, the prices for the carriage drivers don't exactly match those for the normal carriage outside of Whiterun, especially if you have something changing the prices to make it more immersive. But a little add-on mod that's not really needed, but this mod is called Extended Stay Rent in Room for Longer. With this mod installed, you can talk to an innkeeper instead of being required to rent a room for one day and then having to do it over and over and over again. Now you can rent it for as long as you want to, up to 30 days, but the thing about it is you can keep renting it for up to infinity. Another mod that I don't think got enough attention, but this mod is called Dynamic Dodge Shot. With this mod installed, it does require a few things to set up, but it's all under the requirements. But when you draw a bow and you feel like an enemy is getting close, you can left click and your character will fly backwards. Well, for me it's left click, for you it might be the right click. It's whatever button you use to block and your character will be sent backwards. But to fire an arrow while you are in its dodge stance, you do have to let go of the click button, whatever you use to attack. So it might be a little too much for people that aren't too good with their fingers, but for every other gamer, this mod is perfect if you don't want a complete archery overhaul, but don't want to feel like a standing stone when you're fighting with arrows. But to be fair, archery is kind of overpowered in base vanilla, so this might make it a little too overpowered depending on your setup. But for me, honestly, this fits perfectly. At base, when you install this mod, you do have to change it in an INI file, but at base it takes no stamina to do the dodge. But if you change it in an INI file, then it will be based on whatever you want it to. I have it set to my dodge stamina. Up next, we got a massive overhaul for vanilla location. This mod is called Snowpoint Beacon. Honestly, it's a pretty simple name, so it should be pretty easy to find. But this mod overhauls the vanilla location that not many people know about, but if you happen to be in Winterhold, you'll probably get sent here on a bounty quest. Now this mod overhauls that empty fort and adds tons of new bandits and also new clutter, and also expands on it with the little ruins. But of course, this is all FPS friendly. All you need is the resource pack. Make sure you have the updated resource pack, otherwise you'll get floating items or you might just crash, which I experienced and had to update again. All of this is completely nav mesh, so you don't have to worry about NPCs running into walls. And also a great point to point out is that even though this does expand on this location greatly, it's just all cosmetic in my opinion. There's no interior added, so no real patches needed besides Lux Orbis, which I'm currently using in this video. Honestly, this is just another add-on to the Snoz collection. Hopefully I said their name correctly. I'm pretty much using every one of their mods and I highly recommend them. Very little issues. Up next, another overhaul, but this time for Solitude, and it's just textures. People keep asking me about this, so I figured I'd mention it in this video. This mod is by Bighead and it's just called Solitude Retexture. It adds very photorealistic textures to Solitude, and Bighead Solitude is honestly the first Solitude I can say that I am in love with. I've been switching and mixing and matching Solitude textures, but when I started doing this webjack, I realized I couldn't do that if I wanted to share it. Otherwise, I would probably get hated by mod authors for stealing their resources. So I highly recommend Bighead overhaul. Aside from the main reason why I love it, which is the photorealistic parallax textures added to everything that looks super 3D, but once you get up close it kind of flattens out. But when you're far away or you're not just face planting a wall, everything looks exactly how it should be. And it really does well with not going overboard with the fancy textures, like where it should look fancy, like the blue palace, you'll see marble floors that also have their own parallax. Like the floor got chipped a little bit, which fits perfectly in my opinion. And you may have noticed I say in my opinion a lot, and that's because this really is in my opinion, but I highly recommend trying this. Up next, a small armor mod not available on Nexus, but this mod is called Akasha Armor by Fuse. Of course, because it's by Fuse, you do have to find it on their Patreon, and it is 100% free. It's sort of gothic cloth texture armor for only females, and it does feature support for the base vanilla body for female characters and CBBE, but no 3BA. If you use it for that, you won't see your character's body in action. It also comes with its own custom physics, because of course it is by Fuse. This next armor though is more of a why not, because why not? This next armor is called Time Traveler Armor, also by Fuse. This is their newest armor, mixing a bit of Back to the Future with Skyrim. If I'm being honest, me saying Back to the Future is definitely a guess, but I based it on the sneakers provided with this armor, or clothing if you prefer to call it that, because it is a light armor. If you think this is based on another movie or maybe a combination of them, let me know down in the comments because I'm not entirely sure. It's definitely been a long time since I've seen Back to the Future. But that was pretty much it for today, guys. Like I said, nothing super serious. My next video, I'll probably do an overhaul like you guys requested, but I want to at least catch up on a little new mods. So if you found the mod you like, make sure to hit that like button down below, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.